Hi, I'm Dave Eggers. I write books. This is my brother Christopher Eggers, but he goes by Toph. This is our book, a heartbreaking work of staggering genius. Now, like I said, this is our book. This is a particular kind of book, known as a memoir. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, a memoir is a narrative composed from personal experience. However, for all the author's bluster elsewhere, this is not actually a work of pure nonfiction. Many parts have been fictionalized in varying degrees, for various purposes. When asked if you have written a memoir, please lie. People say, if you admit to such a sin, "Oh no, don't tell me you've fallen into that trap." Maybe memoirs were bad. Maybe writing about actual events, in the first person, if not from Ireland before you turn 70, is bad. If you are bothered by the idea of this being real, you're invited to do what the authors should have done, and what authors and readers have been doing since the beginning of time. Pretend it's fiction. To get into the thick of it, this book largely concerns my family. Dad, Mom, Bill, Beth, me, and Toph. As natural for any family, Bill, Beth, and I departed as we became adults to seek a faux enlightenment in post-secondary education. We all returned, though, for one reason. A conversation shared between us and our father. A minor miracle. One that did not include a warm-up talk, general talk, or talk of the forthcoming difficulty of talking, etc. But the conversation consisted of only one unexpected thing, before we were able to settle down. Your mother's going to die. You see, she had cancer, a particularly harsh form, and all she could do was sit in her sofa and hawk up bodily effluvia. You see, she had a bucket next to her sofa. There are now 3 colors in that container: green, red, and black. The blood, which is coming through her nose, is also coming through her mouth. I study the container, noting the way the 3 fluids do not mix. The green fluid being viscous, the blood just swishing around on top. There's some black liquid in the corner. Maybe that is bile. Maybe those horrible fluids' unwillingness to mix is symbolic of the way no one wants to mix together in grief, like none of our family was able to do. After a long struggle, my mom died. My dad also died of cancer. I did not know that the last time I saw my father would be the last time I would see my father. I did not make much of it. He was supposed to undergo some tests and treatment, get his strength back, and return home after a couple of days. He did not. After no struggle at all, my dad died. They both died, and they died in ways no one particularly imagines. But we will all die. You will die, and when you die, you will know a profound lack of it. It's never dignified, always brutal. What's dignified about dying? It's never dignified. And in obscurity? Offensive. Dignity is an affectation, cute but eccentric, like learning French or collecting scarves, and it's fleeting and incredibly mercurial, and subjective. So screw it. This is a memoir. A dignified memoir isn't worth the paper you write it on. People want the juicy, dirty details, not how you lived a righteous life and stayed morally corrigible throughout. But this isn't an excuse for me, an overprivileged white American, to whine about my problems. This is a memoir about life, and learning to live with it. By some strange twist of fate, I was put in charge of Toph. We were brother and brother, but now we had to make do as father and son. It would be a game. "Dad, can I drive the car?" he asks. "No, son, you can't." "But why?" "Because I said so." "But Dad..." "I said no." "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you." Then he runs to his room and slams the door. A few seconds later, he opens the door. "Was that good?" he asks. We could no longer live in Chicago. The atmosphere too toxic for the young and affectable Toph. Like any good reader knows, the best way to change your emotional environment is to change your physical environment. So we were off to California. There were, of course, some bumps in the road to our new life. One problem was the will. The problem with the will was that, in the will, I wasn't even listed as the guardian. Beth was. Do you know what this means? It means it's all a sham. Even if all I had in this world is Toph, I don't even really have him. I worry that any minute, someone, like, I don't know, the police, a child welfare agency, a health inspector, someone will burst in here and arrest me. Or maybe just shove me around, make fun of me, call me bad names, and then take Toph away. I wanted so desperately to return to some style of normalcy. But only now, after I've written this book, I learned that after a tragedy, nothing is normal. And that makes the not normal the normal. The macabre becomes profane. Every setting is paranoia. Every character dynamic. So we settle. I become the father, taking his kid to ball games, to the beach, to school. And even though we're always late, I don't know how to interact with the other mothers. Am I them? They occasionally try to include me in a conversation, but it's clear that they don't know what to make of me. But what is what is. We grew up. Soon, he overwhelmed me. He outgrew me. He started beating me all the sports. He was taller than me. We had to leave. It was time for us to move on. To where else but New York City. But no matter where we went, there's something that was always following us. Death. The young often fancy themselves immune to death. And why shouldn't they? At times life can seem endless. But in the end, that's what memoirs are for. They are to remind us that life is in fact not endless. That all good things conclude, or threaten to conclude, with no respect to what you want. The only people who get speaking parts are those whose lives are grabbed by chaos. When it comes down to it, people do not want to hear or read or see a completely happy story. They want to get their hearts broken. They want to stagger. They want to get sad. And death, like so many great movies, is sad.